three, two. Never mind. What I jumped the gun there, didn't I?
Shocker.
Yeah,
Shocker.
I've done that before, and I'll probably end up doing it again. But hey, this is Trash Talk, and I started it off in a trashy way, by screwing up. But
hey, speaking of trashy, look at this lady behind me.
Yeah, who is that, Brandon?
Well,
I know you'll talk about it all off camera, but
yeah, I'm gonna let it go.
She's just like, why am I here back there?
Well, hey,
look at her, man.
For those that join us on a regular basis, you're all saying, well, who's that other guy? Well, listen, we needed somebody else that was a good trash collector. And also we reached out to our good friend, Nick Luck, who is out on the West Coast of the country and all. He joined us. He is a good friend of ours on Soundwave. And also Nick Luck, welcome to Trash Talk.
Thank you very much. Very awesome to be here.
Yeah, it feels weird, right? It feels weird because we've talked on Soundwave, we text,
which is 1 minute.
Which is 1 minute. Well, with Nick and I, it's usually 51-minute increments,
Right. Yeah. Once we get going, it's like boom.
Right.
Yeah, it don't stop. It don't stop. Then we've communicated on every other social media platform out there.
Yeah.
Then we've done his podcast. I was a guest on his podcast, one of his podcasts called the AOK podcast. And you can find that everywhere on all social media or all platforms, really. Probably 100 of them. And then he was on mine, and then he's going to be on mine again. Now we're doing stuff on Wisdom together. So we're all over the place, man. We're all over the place.
And then people are going to tune in Trash Talk and say, whoa, that guy, Nick Luck, man, he's everywhere.
Right?
Every placing my roots.
Yeah. Every time I turn on a platform or something, there he is again. But you're involved in a lot of things, aren't you, Nick? I know that you're an artist, and is that like your real passion?
Yeah, that's my biggest one. Second would be writing, because I gotta companion the two together. But yeah, art is my main thing, my jam.
And what kind of art?
Mainly dabbling in, right now, digital cartooning has taken over my life. I started off doing a lot of traditional, but since I got my iPad a year now, I've been diving into that. So I love cartooning mostly.
That's interesting. That's very, very cool. I like that.
He did two. He's done a lot, but he did two pieces. Well, I guess technically more than that I was involved in. He just did a recent one for Luke when we moved for his bedroom. It's a David Bowie piece. It's really awesome. And then he did one for all the Soundwave crew as a surprise from Lilia, or got it for us for Christmas. And we were all turned into our superhero characters, or in some cases, super villains. And it was really cool. It came out awesome, super awesome. So I'm putting that up too. I'm printing that up and putting that up for me in my own bedroom. But yeah, really cool stuff. Really unique looking styles. I'll post them on the Trash Talk site so you guys can see them.
Awesome.
Did I see you do a podcast called I Believe in Monsters?
Well, that was originally going to be a dramatic reading of my stories I'm publishing.
Cool.
But I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to do that per se, because I'm going to be publishing those on Amazon. So I probably won't be able to do the full-fledged stuff, or at least probably have to do stuff that I'm not publishing on there. But I Believe in Monsters is mainly the title of my series.
Very cool. I mean, you and Brandon have an awful lot in common, because you got your hands in more than one pie. You're all over the place, dabbling in a lot of stuff, writing, podcasting, producing, creating. You guys are so far ahead of me.
It's give me all the flavors.
Yeah, I'm the guy who just sits on the couch with the remote and switching back and forth between all this stuff.
I know. I probably tag Stuart in more things than he knows.
Yeah, And I open up my phone and I said, what the hell is he sending me now?
I was like, hey, check this out. Check this out.
Yeah. What's all this new platform and everything? Every time I turn around, he's delving into another platform. But we every week we get together, we start to talk about, hey, what are we going to talk about and everything. And I don't know where we started talking about going to the zoo as kids and even as adults and all. And Brandon says, wait a minute, I got somebody. I got to reach out to Nick Luck because he's got some stories about zoos, and we'll just tell some zoo stories.
Well, it got weird because I did a thing on Soundwave about this article I read about this idiot in Florida, shocker. And he was working for a zoo, and he crossed the line of where these tigers are that he's not supposed to, go past this line. This tiger bit him, got him in the arm, and wasn't letting go, and they had to kill the tiger.
Ooh. Yeah.
I forgot about that story.
Yeah, because some idiot did what he wasn't supposed to do. They had to kill a tiger who was only a baby tiger. The tiger was only, I think they said 6 years old.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so I got frustrated about zoos and everything that goes with zoos. And here we are now talking about zoos, So I don't know. What about you, Nick? You've been to a zoo in your life, I'm sure.
Yeah. There was a time in my life where I was like, man, I want to pick all the zoos in the US and just go there as a bucket list type thing, as one of the many bucket lists I have. And I can mark off about 2 so far.
Right. Done.
My favorite one out of the 2 was in my hometown, Pittsburgh. And that was a really fun zoo. It was really, not that I can compare it to much else, but it was a lot of nostalgia there. And to this day, the thing I can think of, or remember the most from the Pittsburgh Zoo, is the smell, and not in a good way.
Yeah.
Was that because of Pittsburgh or just the zoo?
I think it was a mixture of the 2, honestly. It just both gathered in this hodgepodge of horridness above the zoo.
Yeah, I kind of remember as a kid always wanting to go to the circus, and it was kind of the same thing. You go to the circus to see the circus, but the smell of all of the animals at the circus, and you're whoa, and man, this popcorn tastes funny, Mom. But
I like zoos. I like the idea of a zoo. I think the idea of a zoo is cool. Yes. I have problems with them though, because I think as time goes on, now granted, I'm talking about the Detroit Zoo, so that's a bad example. But it is Detroit. It is Detroit, which by the way, the Detroit Zoo isn't even in the city of Detroit. So yeah, I know it's 35 to 40 minutes, maybe 35 north of the city. It's not even in Detroit.
Yeah. Well,
they lost.
They
lost the bid.
The New York Jets play in New Jersey. So
that's true. That's true.
I forgot about that too.
Well, hey, look.
But we are all from major cities, and I think that our zoos from Pittsburgh, Detroit, Chicago, and everything. When we grew up, there were zoos with iron bars between you and all of the animals, and you just get up to the bars to look through. We spent some time in South Florida, and I got to tell you, the Miami Zoo is really an incredible zoo because there are no bars. They have these large moats, and then there's some like bars and all that are on one side of the moat, but you have nothing between you and the animals as far as your line of sight. So it gives you a little bit more of a feeling of being out there in the wild. Yep. If the animals ever tried to go toward you, they would end up in the moat. If you tried to go the other way, same thing.
Well, I think that's the way they're doing it nowadays. And you know what? Hey, I've been to Miami. There's a lot of bars in Miami. Okay, there's a lot of bars.
I see what you did there. The Pittsburgh Zoo is actually the same too.
But Brandon, we're not talking about bars where they serve drinks.
I got confused. I don't know. What else am I going to do in Miami besides almost get shot at? You know, that's a different story.
Ooh.
But
Imagine if they put both together.
yes.
By the way, in Miami and a lot of other zoos where they have the primate houses and everything, they're starting to put lots of glass dividers in between so that you can get close to the animals, and the animals actually come up to the glass and put their hands on the glass.
See,
I
I
had a
think
lot of
that's
experience
cool.
with that.
You did? What happened?
Yeah.
What happened?
So I don't remember exactly when I mean, I know I was young. I was like probably around 7 or 8, and I was with a couple of my friends around the same age group. And I'm usually in my group. I was usually the one to make all the jokes and be the goofiest one. So when this gorilla was just like kind of just going around, and he was looking agitated, out of nowhere he starts banging the glass. Like he would swing around, boom, swing around, boom. And they start looking at me. He's like, "What did you do to the gorilla?" And I'm like, "I didn't do anything. I'm just looking at it. Like, what's it gonna do? Can it break through that?" We were all freaking out. We all just left eventually. But it was like, why is he? We were really concerned. Like, who's messing with this gorilla like this, or is he just messing with us? I don't know.
See, and that's why I think that those gorillas, I mean, we know they're smart. I mean, they're smart. But I think they get frustrated because I went to a zoo, and it was in Detroit, and they redid the primate area, but the monkeys were so angry, they were throwing poo. Like they were literally, and it was like Stuart said, it wasn't in a cage, it was in the open air, and they were chucking their turds like so far. And I was like, they were trying to hit the people that were watching. And I'm like, dude, they're agitated. This can't be good for. So are zoos really good, or are they just turning into like play school, you know, like a babysitting thing for animals that can't survive in the wilderness? You know, I think they're kind of torn. I think some zoos are phenomenal and do a great job, and I think other zoos are just. I felt bad for the monkeys. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I felt bad for them.
Yeah, a couple bad apples in the batch, it sounds like, for sure. I remember we were talking about that a little bit, where a lot of zoos. I think it was I want to say it was the New York Zoo, because they have a show on Netflix. I want to say, or was it? It was either Netflix or one of the other random streaming sites. My wife was watching it, and we were watching it together for a couple episodes. And I remember they were talking about how they were stressing how they were trying to incorporate more animals who just can't live out into the wilderness and bringing them here so they could thrive.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you got to do something with those animals, especially for people like, and Stuart, especially down in Florida, people buy those pets that aren't really pets, and then they just release them into the wild.
Right.
And a lot of those animals aren't used to the wild. So they're either getting killed or they're killing something out. So you got to do something with them, you know?
And that's generally why most of animals that are born in a zoo have a tendency to spend their entire lives in the zoo, because they don't know how to compete in the wild. You know, they only know, you know, that you know, while we feel badly for them, I always felt that way about the lions and the tigers. You know, and maybe again because in the 2 Chicago zoos, the area where the lions and tigers didn't seem like it was large enough. It wasn't open enough.
Sure.
You know, they would be in a cage and they would pace back and forth and back and forth.
Yeah.
And we would feel sorry for them, but they probably figured that's the only life that they know. And it's another hour or 2 before they come and throw me my hamburger. So they just deal with that. I mean, the couple of memories that I have is the Brookfield Zoo in the Chicago area, and I used to love to go see the polar bears because they did have a large pool and a large area and kind of a man-made mountain for the polar bears to go up inside the mountain and then come out and jump into the water and that was pretty cool. If the bears cared about you, fine. If not, they just walk away.
I think it was cool. We did a field trip at a zoo multiple times. It was like the go-to field trip back in the day. Yeah. And on one particular field trip, we got to go behind the scenes and kind of see like where they take care of the animals if they get injured. And it also got to like, I got to feed like the tortoises, and that was amazing to me, like just super cool. But the other field trip we went to, we didn't get to do that, but we got to witness one of your favorite animals, Stuart, the snakes. And I know how much you love those. And they had a very special two-headed snake. And it was just, it was exactly what it sounds like. It looked like, I pictured this snake to be in like Medusa's hair. Like it had two heads and it was living. I mean, it was like twins that were joined together, and it lived, and it was at the Detroit Zoo, and they showed us this two-headed snake, and they were both eating at the same time. It was super weird, seemed totally fake to me. But yeah, I lived about a year or two, and then I think it died. But yeah, it was awesome, man.
Probably died because one wanted to go to the left and the other wanted to go to the right.
Well, then I'm thinking, like, what if the other one got mad and looked at it as an enemy? Would it try to kill itself, you know?
I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised.
Right?
I enjoy zoos, especially those that have a lot of outdoor areas and all. But I got to tell you, Brandon, thank you for bringing it up. I do not do reptile houses. Sorry, no, I do not do snakes. I do not do spiders. I do not, sorry. I might go over to the alligator exhibit and see
I
the
like
alligators, because they kind of just sit there and do nothing anyway.
I'm like that with insects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. Alligators are like watching fish. It serves absolutely no purpose, but you just watch them to see if they're going to move.
I love alligators. I love going in and seeing the reptiles. I get creeped out by some of the spiders for sure. Some of the other insects they're hit or miss, but I'm fascinated by them. I'm intrigued. Like, I love going to the butterfly house. I think the butterfly house is amazing. To be able to have those butterflies with all the bright colors just land on you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, there's something really cool about that,
Butterflies are a good exception for me. Those are some of the few I actually will be like, yeah, I could be around these things for a little bit. Well, not, yeah.
They don't bother you. They don't bother you. Like, I'll deal with the butterfly. I don't want to deal with the moths. Like moths, no way, man.
Yeah.
They got faces on them. They got fur. Like, no, I'm good. I'm out on the moth.
And butterflies don't have teeth, so you don't have to worry about them biting.
That's true. They don't. Yeah, they don't have teeth. They got tongues though. Do you know that?
Yeah.
Oh, those things look nasty.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's gross. I think I went to the Dallas Zoo and I went to the Fort Worth Zoo. And out of the two, the Fort Worth Zoo is way better than Dallas. I'm gonna say it right now. Huh. Yeah, it's a lot more. It's more outdoorsy. It feels like as you're walking to the different exhibits, it feels like you're in a jungle. Everything seems very nature oriented. There's a lot of bridges and like wood huts, and everything just feels nice. Like you feel like you're in a rainforest. The Dallas Zoo, it's okay. It's nice. But again, it's really big. There's a lot of walking. And I wasn't impressed. I just wasn't.
That's what I liked about the Pittsburgh one too, is a lot of it was outside, and there were a couple of spots where you could go inside, especially if some of the bigger animals like the elephants and stuff, you can go in there. But like, I think for that one, I forget what they did. There was like this little area you could walk in and see the elephants do something. I don't know if they were feeding them or just maintaining them or something. And I remember it smelled awful, because that's of course where they were doing their business.
Yeah, and it's gross, man. It's gross.
Yeah, that and the bat spot, that was cool too, because it was a cave you could walk in, and of course, fortunately, they had the cages or the fencing on the side, so they couldn't fly all over the place. Yes, and that was, I think that actually the smell with that, even though the sight was great, the smell very much rivaled the elephants.
The elephants, yeah. I remember the Cincinnati Zoo, which is probably one of the only good things in Ohio anyway, is they have a bat cave, and they have this thin wall of, some of the bats are behind glass, but others they're flying above you, but there's this thin like mesh, I don't know what it is, and they'll walk on it. So technically speaking, if I was tall, which obviously I'm not, I could reach it and touch one of those bats, but they're not out of their cage. It was really cool. I probably went in that thing 4 or 5 times because I felt like I could have grabbed one of those bats. They were awesome.
If you ever make it to Miami, I think one of the highlights of the Miami Zoo is the aviary. It covers a few acres and all, and it's enclosed in like a mesh. You don't really realize it, but they've got just thousands of birds and in more or less like a natural habitat, and they're constantly flying.
That's cool.
Oh man.
And back in 1992, when Hurricane Andrew hit,
Oh yeah.
one of the things it wiped away was the aviary, and all of the birds just flew away. And it took them years and years and years. Some of them came back after the hurricane to destruction, basically. But it's interesting that there are stories that a lot of them that came back, even though there was no covering to keep them in, they didn't leave. They came back because that was their habitat. But
right,
when they built it back even better than it was. That's a great aviary.
I remember when that happened, reading about that, all the animals. But the interesting thing about Florida is that most of those animals can survive out there because of the environment. I mean, they might not be able to survive on the hunting aspect, but as far as weather and stuff, it's just like they're home for the most part.
oh man.
I don't think I'll be in Miami anytime soon. I did a lot of time in Miami. I'm going to take my time off.
It's kind of like us when we have a tornado. I mean, we got no place else to go. You probably better off just stay home.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's true. I think I went to a couple, and I think I talked to you about this, Nick. I went to a zoo, and Stuart, you recommended this zoo when you sent me a list of things to do. And it's called I'll give him a shout out. Why not? It's called the Frank Buck Zoo, and it's just 35 minutes north of me, maybe 40 tops. Right. Luke and I went, and it is injured animals. It is people that have just, hey, I'm going to buy this cheetah and then let it go. It's that sort of thing. It's not like a Tiger King experience or anything. These people, yeah, no. There's none of that weird stuff.
Right outside the zoo, we'll be free.
Right. But it's they take care of them. They give them their environment, their habitat. They have classes there. A lot of the people from veterinary school go there, so it's pretty cool. And it was cheap, and it wasn't really big. But I thought places like that, I think it's really good for animals and also helping get these animals so they're not on the endangered species list. That's a really cool thing.
Yeah, around the country and down in the Florida Keys, they've got dolphin rehab facilities, and also the turtle hospital down there, where
that's cool.
It's open to the public, and that's a great educational outlet for kids, is to see how they rehab some of the animals and everything to turn them back loose into the wild too.
I love turtles.
Thing. Yeah.
But like that Frank Buck, that there are people watching, especially when you get into the spring and summer like we are now. Not only go to your large city zoos and everything, but check out some of these. I guess I don't want to really say it's a pet farm, but they're like larger than a pet farm and a petting zoo and everything, but smaller than one of these multi-acre zoos. And it's great, especially for the kids to interact with them.
That's the best way to do it too.
You got to have those out there by you, Nick.
Yeah, because with the educational thing, it's very vital, especially when it comes to saving a lot of these animals' lives. For one example, one thing I liked about my hometown zoo was they had these green plastic cards you could get, and you could just put them in these machines that would educate you about the animals that you are seeing.
That's cool.
And it made me think about this video I saw, I think maybe last year, of this lady who was like, "Be free, turtle," and she tossed it in the ocean, and it was not one of those turtles. It would not have done good in the ocean. It was not one of those. It was, and people were just, everyone was identifying it in the comments like, you just killed that turtle, basically.
Right. Yeah.
Ugh.
Well, you know what? That happens a lot every year after Easter. People have this nonsensical thing about going to the pet shop and buying bunny rabbits for Easter, and then they don't take care of them. The kids don't take care of them, and so they just take it out in the backyard and they figure, well, there's other rabbits in the neighborhood, and they turn them loose.
That's so stupid.
Bad move. Bad move.
It's so stupid. It's so, first off, stop buying a bunny for Easter. Just stop it. Just stop.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, bunnies, I guess they can make good pets if you're really into it, but they're just a bunch of pooping machines, like.
And love making.
Right. Love making pooping machines.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, you go out and you buy one rabbit, and all of a sudden you've got 40 of them in the house.
Right. And then you go let them out in your backyard. Yeah. And then you're like, gee, I wonder why they're all dead. And you got coyotes living in your backyard. Now,
yeah,
come on, man.
We have coyotes.
Yeah. And
right.
And where'd all the plants go?
I think I'm going to take a time out from zoos though for a while. Luke and I did a lot of zoo stuff, and I think I want to. I don't know. I just, there is a part of me still that always feels bad. Not at the places like Frank Buck, but the big ones. I don't know, man. I think there needs to be I know we got a lot of other stuff going on right now, but I think there needs to be an overhaul on zoos, to be honest with you.
Well, with small kids, I still think that the petting zoos are the way to go. Let them get in and experience what it's like to be around little piglets and goats and
and tigers.
Yeah. But it's a baby tiger,
Yeah.
Oof.
I mean, just go feed it. That's what the guy in Florida did. I mean, why not?
Yeah. I mean, the ones I don't mind being around tortoises. I can handle tortoises. That. Yeah. That's another one where you could stand there and watch them for about an hour just to see if they move.
Dude, I got to tell you, I think they're my spirit animal actually, because number one, they move a lot faster when they're hungry than you think they do. Those guys know how to move. They just don't want to. I understand that logic. I know how to move. I just don't want to, and they look like grumpy men in the face. Like if they were like grumpy old man, I don't know. I think I get it. I think it's my spirit animal is a turtle, a tortoise.
So I love the kangaroos the most.
Yeah, kangaroos are legit.
They had them at my zoo, and I don't remember a thing about them, unfortunately, but I like them.
We saw them at the Detroit Zoo. They did a really cool exhibit where you walk through and the kangaroos are out there, and they would hop up to you. And they would
that made
say,
me so nervous.
Yeah. Well, and some of these kangaroos are all ripped and they're looking at you like,
yeah.
And I'm like, dude, but they would hop up to you.
Jacked.
Yeah. And I'm just amazed at them because they just look like weird humans dressed up, like, I don't know. I am not convinced they're from this planet, by the way. I'm not convinced.
And I'm still trying to figure out giraffes, because do giraffes ever lie? I don't think giraffes ever lie down, do they? Because I don't think that they're so top heavy.
Doubtful.
I don't think they can get back up on their legs. So that means they spend their whole lives standing up.
Aren't cows like that too, where they sleep standing up, or is that a rumor?
No, cows lay down.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, cows lay down. And the rumor that you can go cow tipping, that is a rumor for sure, because good luck trying to push over one of those cows.
Yeah,
that's all.
Especially in Texas.
Well, especially when you're some 16-year-old idiot in Michigan like myself, who would go with a bunch of buddies and go, let's go cow tipping.
They never came home that night.
No. And cows can run fast.
Yes.
What?
Yes. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. You just picture them being lazy and dumb and eating and pooping and all that. No. if they're mad at you, they will run at you. It doesn't matter if it's a bull. Forget the bull. It could be a fat cow, and she will run at you. No problem.
As
Yeah.
long as it's nothing like the Kung Pao movie, I would think I'll be cool.
No, I don't think it's like that. But it does. It is creeping me out, man. And because they do like nap, like, you know, cats will nap anywhere. A cow will nap anywhere. They'll stand up, close their eyes. So you go to push one. Yeah, no. Yeah, she's not even moving. She's just sitting there like, what are you doing?
Is that the wind?
Right. That's my cow story.
And you're sticking to it.
Creepy, man. Creepy. Yeah.
Well,
Cows
hey,
are creepy.
we've had a great time this morning, and Nick, thank you very, very much for joining us to, you know, share your interest in zoos and just your general interest. I hope you'll come back and join us again sometime.
Oh yes, I would love that. This was very fun to talk about, and it's a discussion too that you could just keep going on to. Like, there's so much to talk about. But yeah, I would totally love to come back.
Yeah, what we'll do is we'll come back, you know, like in 6 months after the summertime, and we'll all share stories of maybe some other zoos that we visited.
Nice. I think there's one in maybe Seattle. There's like nothing out here but just camping stuff. And
Well, you got aquariums out there instead of zoos.
Oh yeah, that's probably what Seattle.
Yeah,
is.
it's
that
more
makes
about
sense.
fish out there. I want to go out there and watch them where they throw the fish, you know, from the boat to the dock to the people.
Don't they do that in New York? They do that in New York and Boston too, don't they?
The what?
Don't they do that in New York and Boston too?
I think so.
I could be making that up, but yeah.
Well, it is Boston, so
That's true. It is freaking. I can't be mean. I got 2 people in Boston that watch this show. So shout out to Jordan. And I forgot your friend's name. So, but her too. I don't know what her name is.
Well, hopefully all of our friends from Soundwave will have an opportunity to catch us and see how you know, Soundwavers all get together and share a podcast together sometime. And we hope you'll all join us again next week, 8:00 on Tuesday mornings for another edition of Trash Talk. And other than that, we'll see you on every other platform that's out there, either together or separately.
That's right.
Sound? Does that sound
sounds
good?
Yeah,
All right.
oh yeah.
Take care. Be well, y'all.